everybody who got meat at the table, they said that it really wasn't very nice. Happy Sunday, everyone! I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. It really is Sunday morning right now. I just woke up about an hour and a half ago, and after getting out of bed and making breakfast and checking my Facebook and YouTube comments, the first thing I wanted to do was sit down here and talk with you all. And today we're going to talk about the food, mostly the main dining room experience on the Norwegian Escape. Cruise food. Big topic for me, and I know a lot of you as well. It's one of the things that makes cruising so special is the amount and variety of food that you have access to for included in the price of your cruise when you are on a ship. And I think that I honestly can't imagine going on a cruise if the food wasn't included in the price. That is one thing that I just think is so attractive about cruising, is being able to go out to eat for every meal and not having to think, oh, how much is this gonna cost? And I kind of want that, but it costs more than this, so should I get this because it's cheaper? It's just so convenient, it's so nice, and there's so many great things to try. And if you've watched a lot of my videos, then I know that you know that we usually don't go eat in the main dining room. What is the main dining room? Well, I guess I should explain it for people who haven't been on a lot of cruises or have never been on a cruise. There's like a tradition to cruise ship dining, and it's sort of being reimagined on almost every major cruise line. And it's something that even I've sort of seen the transformation. I've experienced the really old school style and a lot of the new school style now in my short 7 years that I've been doing cruises. And what it is in the past, dinner on a cruise ship was like a big event where everybody would get dressed up in their fancy clothes. Fancy is such a fun word, isn't it? In their fancy clothes, and there would be reservations, and it was very elegant, and the dining rooms were very elegant, and it was I think the dining rooms in the old school cruise ships were probably the nicest, most opulently designed areas on the whole ship. And so you would get dressed up in order to match that atmosphere. And in old cruise movies like the Titanic and stuff like that, you can see people doing exactly this. And so that's how it used to be. That was the tradition. And then there were usually, the way that I know it from when I first started cruising, there were 2 set dining times, and then everybody on the cruise ship went to eat at either 6:30 or at 8:30, and it was 2 big events with everybody coming in, getting seated, and then a lot of times then the head waiter would make a speech, and then the servers would come out, sort of like in the movie Hello Dolly, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in the old New York supper rooms. I think that was a kind of or supper club. I think that was a kind of atmosphere that was tried to be recreated on ships. So gosh, I'm already off on a huge tangent. What I really want to talk about is the food and my experience on the main dining room on the Norwegian Escape, our most recent cruise. But I'm trying to catch everybody up for anybody who may have not been on a cruise. So that's how it used to be. That's very old school, and I think that you can sort of kind of still get this environment on a lot of cruises, but more and more it's becoming more just different restaurants that you can go visit with no set dining times and with no necessarily set dress code. And that is more or less how it is on Norwegian cruise lines, and especially how it was on the Norwegian Escape. I did something that we very rarely do. Like I said, we went to the main dining room on the first night of our cruise with my mom and her friend. So it was Morgan, Marcus, Mom, and Tim. And because I wanted to make sure that my mom really got an idea for everything there was to do on a cruise, everything, all the different options, I thought, we really should go to the main dining room at least once so she has an idea of what it's like. So we decided to do it on the first night because we went to check the menu in the afternoon, which you can always do, and there were 2 or 3 things that I thought, okay, well, that sounds really good. Let's go. Let's do it tonight. On the Norwegian Escape, as on most of the larger NCL ships, there are like 3 main dining rooms. And, it's not called the main dining room anymore. On other ships, it's literally called like the main dining room, or MDR. That's like cruise speak for main dining room. And now on NCL, they have it set up that, at least on the bigger ships, it's split into 3 different venues. 2 of them are more casual, and on the bigger NCL ships, they're all named something a little bit different, like Taste, Savor, and the Manhattan Room, or the Manhattan Club. And Taste and Savor are like the more casual, and the Manhattan Club is the really fancy, here we are with that word again, the really fancy one. And what I mean by fancy is the atmosphere is more elegant. The decorations are a little bit more like upscale. There's dark wood. There's like, folded napkins on the table. And actually, you know what? As I'm talking about this, let me tell you the reason that I decided I wanted to talk about this in a Sunday Sofatime or Sunday Storytime video is because you can see this. You can see our experience of going to the main dining room on the Escape in my most recent vlog, which I just posted on Friday. But I don't really talk about what the food was like when we were there, so that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video. And now like 8 minutes have gone by and I still haven't gotten to it. Sorry about that. That's, that's me. That's how my brain works. All right, but we originally tried to go to Taste and Savor. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called on the Escape. And both of them were full, and they said, well, if you wanted to eat here tonight, you'd have to wait another half an hour, but if you go to the Manhattan Room, there are tables free right now. And the reason that we didn't originally go to the Manhattan Room is because although we were dressed somewhat nicely, the Manhattan Room sort of like, I feel like you really should be wearing like a suit and tie when you go in there, at least if you want to sort of match the atmosphere that they're trying to create. That doesn't mean that everybody does it. Of course, a lot of people don't do it, but that was the reason where I thought, okay, well, if you look at what we have on, then we probably should go to Taste or Savor. Here's one thing to note. The menu is the same in all 3 of these restaurants. And so that is what makes it, or that's like the connection to the old main dining room thing, is because everybody is served the same menu. And there are plenty other places to go to eat for dinner. Also included in the price of your cruise on NCL, you can go to the Irish pub, you can go to the buffet, which is what we usually do. There is like an Asian noodle bar. There were a couple other places on the Escape that were included in the price, but I can't think of them right now. So what I'm trying to say is nobody has to go to the main dining room. There are plenty of other places without spending extra money. And the Manhattan Room, or the Manhattan Supper Club, or the Manhattan Club, whichever it's called, it has something to do with Manhattan. Like I said, it's very elegant, and they have a dance floor in the middle, and they have a live band playing jazz music, and it's just very, very nice. And it was a really nice experience. It was a great first night. And I think a really great first impression for my mom and Tim, because as we were sitting in there, the sun is going down outside, and if you look at the footage in that vlog video I told you about, you can see the light is like coming in from the side, and it just was very nice and very elegant. And so like 10 points for the atmosphere. It was very, very nice. The menu you can also see in the video. It was a nice menu, and there were 2 things that looked good. And in the video, I asked you guys to write in the comments what it is you think that you would order from the menu. And I was looking through the menu again, and I thought, yeah, the baked ziti sounds really good, and the vegetarian burrito, which is what I got, and was very good, yeah. So the menu was very nice. It's very elegantly presented. And I have to say, the service was very good. Of course, it was the first night. So on the first night of the cruise, there's a lot of the servers have, the questions to ask because I guess traditionally people tend to sort of come back every night and then the servers kind of get to know you. And so I didn't feel like they were overly intrusive like I've had on other ships, but there was an exception, and it's my fault. And that is, if you watch the vlog, and I mentioned it several times, I'll just go watch that, and then you'll know a lot of these things I'm talking about. We were registered as VIPs, and so there were a couple people who came to the table there on the first night because they wanted to figure out who is this guy and how can we make sure he has a good time. So we were visited by like the hotel director, the assistant hotel director, I think the cruise director. They all came one after another to just say, oh, we're happy to have you on board and let us know if there's anything we can do to make sure you have a great time. And they really did do a lot to make sure we had a good time. So keep watching those cruise vlogs and you'll see some of the things that happened. All right, to the food, to the actual taste. First of all, the presentation was fantastic. I'll show you some clips here. You can see what it looks like. We had some steaks and some meat medallions, pork medallions, or I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, so I'm the wrong person to ask about that. And the presentation of the main course was very nice. Very well prepared, and like I said, the sun was setting, so the light was sort of coming in from the side. It was very dramatic, shadows and everything, and at least for the serving of the main course and the pre-main course, the hors d'oeuvres, it was a very nice atmosphere and mine tasted very well. But that's what I wanted to mention is everybody who got meat at the table, they said that it really wasn't very nice. It was not a very high quality. It was not cooked very well. The sauces tasted fine, but the main course meat was just not very good. My burrito had melted cheese on the top of it, which is what I love. I was just having a conversation with one of you guys, Hari. We were talking about how we love cheese so much. So Hari, I think you would have liked this burrito because it had lots of melted cheese on top of it. And anything with melted cheese on top of it always tastes better if you ask me. So one thing to mention though, and I remembered this when I looked at the picture of it, do you see that pepper next to it? I was thinking that was a... like if you go to a Spanish tapas restaurant and you can get these grilled peppers and you can eat, they look the same as that pepper, and like the skin is sort of falling off of it and there's like salt all over it and you can just eat like 20 of them because they're so good. I thought that this was that kind of pepper. So I cut off a big chunk of it and put it in my mouth, and it was a jalapeno. It was like a really spicy jalapeno. If I had known it was a jalapeno, I wouldn't have put like a big chunk of it in my mouth because I was expecting it to be one of these really, really mild peppers. And so that was one surprise. But so, speaking of surprises, I was surprised that from all the plates of everybody on the table, mine apparently was the most tasty and the best prepared. So interesting, just because there were 3 other people there and they all were not really happy with their main courses. The hors d'oeuvres were good and the desserts were good. None of us were really interested in getting dessert, and I made everybody order something just so I would have something for the video. And then the sun went down and the light was so bad that I didn't get good video of it anyways. So sorry everybody at the table for making you guys get dessert. It really, the video didn't turn out well, so it was all my fault. But that was the only time that Marcus and I went to the main dining room, or to the Manhattan Club, or the Manhattan Supper Club, the Manhattan Room, whatever it was called. We didn't even try to go again. We did, however, eat at the buffet several times, and we went to Food Republic, which was something that a lot of you recommended. So you can look forward to that video coming up as well. And that was a really good food. Sort of like Asian, well, it was like sushi with sort of a South American flair. I don't know how to describe it. You'll see it when the video goes online, and that's going to be in a couple weeks, so just keep checking back. However, Mom and Tim did go to the main dining room again, and they had a much better experience than they had on the first night. Well, I mean, the experience in itself was all fine. It was the food, but they were much happier with the food that they got. I can't tell you what it is they got. I don't remember anymore. But Mom and Tim also went to the Italian restaurant on board, which whose name I can't remember, but it's written here. And they also went to Le Bistro and were just overly impressed with Le Bistro. They couldn't stop raving about how fantastic the food was, how good everything tasted. They also couldn't finish their dessert, and then they got it in a to-go thing. And like I mentioned in this first video, we got so many freebies, so many goodies sent to our cabins on this cruise that I'm sure that piece of cake that they brought back, or whatever it was that they brought back from the bistro, I'm sure we didn't finish that either. So that was interesting. But all in all, I'm not saying that I would like really look forward to going back to the MDR again on NCL, but it's more just because of just the way that I enjoy eating. I love trying a whole bunch of different things. I don't like to have the pressure of thinking, okay, well, I have to order one of these things, and if it comes and I don't like it, then, I'm just a person who it makes me really uncomfortable to leave like an entire, like if I didn't like that burrito, I couldn't, eat like one bite of it and then just leave it there and be like, no, I don't like it, I'm going to get something else. I can't do that. I think that's wasteful, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable, so I would have eaten it anyways. And I just don't like to be under that pressure, And that's what I love so much about going to the buffet is there's so many things to choose from, and you can just take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and then if you don't like something, it's not like you're wasting an entire portion of it, that's one of the things that I think is so attractive about going to the buffet, and the food on NCL and the buffet was as excellent as always. And I'm sure there are better buffets on cruise ships, and I'm going to find them all in the next few years of cruising and show them all to you. It's a goal I have. But we were happy with the buffet in the NCL as well, up until the point where I saw that guy put his hand into the cheese. But that's a whole other story, and I made a video about that as well. So I think I'm going to wrap up talking about the food, and yeah, in the past 20 minutes I talked a little bit about the main dining room, so pat on the back, my tangents weren't too bad. And now comes the time of the video where I talk about your comments live on air. All right, last week's Sunday Storytime, or Sunday Sofatime, was called Disney Dilemma and showing your pictures. So I talked about us beginning to plan our next Disney trip and some of the options I was thinking about, and got so much great advice from you guys. And I also showed the pictures that you guys had sent in to me on Facebook, and I really enjoyed making that video, and I'm going to do something like that again soon. All right, so whose comment is going to be first? It's going to be Rapunzel 1701. Rapunzel writes, moving around Disney resorts is almost effortless. Outside your own packing and unpacking, which I don't do. You don't do your own packing and unpacking? Please explain. She writes, which I don't do, they take care of most of the unpleasantness. Presuming you both have magic bands and are both on the reservations through the My Disney experience, you never have to visit the check-in desk. Interesting. Check in on the app and your room number will appear once the room is ready. When you leave one resort, drop your bags at Bell Services and tell them which resort you're going to, and the bags will be delivered during the day, and they should be able to deliver them to your new room as well. Go out, enjoy the parks or whatever, and then at the end of the day, go directly to your assigned room. I haven't made the check-in queue in a long time. See, this is what I think is really interesting, and I'm so glad I made this video because I didn't know that. What she's talking about is one of the things I want to do on our next Disney trip is see a few resorts. Not only because I just like to see the different resorts, but because I like to make the videos for you guys so you know what to expect if you're planning a Disney trip. You know, that's one of the main reasons I do all this. And one of the reasons I don't like doing that, a split stay, is just because I feel like it takes up so much time with the unpacking, checking out, you know, going to the front desk, checking out, going to the front desk of the other resort, checking back in, moving the stuff into the room, and you know, it takes up like a whole day. And what she's saying is you don't have to do it that way. And I'm so happy to find out that Disney makes that easy, because that makes it more attractive. And yeah, I think we're leaning more and more to planning our trip like that. What else can I read here? Jason Simmons or Simons writes, multi-location vacations, nope, nope, nope. Which is why a cruise is so great. Unpack once and the hotel moves around instead of you. So pick one place and enjoy yourself. Yeah, Jason, you know, I really agree with what you're saying there, especially about cruising. That is what I always say about cruising. Cruising is like a beach vacation, and you just wake up every morning on a different beach or a different island, and, you know, that is amazing. That's one of the amazing things about cruising. And that is still one thing that sort of sticks out in my head that I really enjoy about when we go to Disney, is if we just stay in one place, I enjoy unpacking on the first day and then like feeling like that is home. You know what I mean? And we have the luxury here in Germany, like I've talked about in recent videos, we get a lot of vacation days, and then I have all these overtime days that I can use up. And so, you know, spending 10 days at Disney is not unrealistic for us. We could definitely do it. And it just seems the idea of just like unpacking on day one and then having 10 days where I don't have to think about my suitcase or folding clothes or anything like that, that just sounds so great. So that is, you know, still a factor. If we do a split stay and stay, you know, like the first day here, the second day here, and then the last week or whatever in a different place, then that will postpone that fantastic feeling of being like, all right, we're here, we're unpacked, and now we just enjoy, you know, whatever we're going to do. Whatever we're going to do. And so, yeah, stay posted. You'll see what happens. All right, one more comment. Brittany Russell writes, if, capitalized, you stay on Disney resorts, please consider doing dedicated resort days. I would love to see full resort tours or day at the resort vlogs. Many people live through your videos, myself included, and this may be the closest I ever get to experiencing Disney. Thanks for the awesome content, Britt from NL Canada. Well, Britt, thank you so much for that comment. Thank you for writing. And what she's saying is it would be nice, what she's saying is that a lot of people who watch my videos, they watch them to feel like they're there and can sort of experience with me, and I try to make the videos like that too. And I always try to imagine that you guys are with me, and what is it that you guys would like to see? What is it that you guys would like to know about? And so what she's wishing for is that if I do some split stays, that I really do some like vlogs of just like hang out at the resort, so you really see what it's like. And that is really what I would like to do as well. But of course that takes time, and it takes time away from going to the parks. But that doesn't mean I don't like to do it. But what always happens when I get there, no matter how much time we've planned to stay there, is I always get this like sort of panicky feeling, like the more time we don't spend in the parks, I feel like, okay, are we wasting money? Should we definitely should go to the parks for at least a couple hours today, even if it's going to be stressful, because otherwise, you know, we're wasting time. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys, does this happen to anybody else? You know, even though I can sit there and just enjoy hanging out at the resort, there's always like another voice in my head that's saying, don't forget, you're at Disney and you need to go to the parks. But I do have some sort of like resort hangout for the day videos. Do I? I think the closest thing I've made to that at Disney was the walk through the Port Orleans French Quarter video. So you can find that in my Disney playlist. And also, we hung out at the pool at Port Orleans French Quarter on the day where we got denied entry to Typhoon Lagoon. Yeah. So you can sort of hang out with me at that in that video as well. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up for now. That was this week's Sunday Sofa Time. Thanks for coming back here. I was glad to be there in your living room or on your phone or on your tablet or on your PC or wherever you're watching this video. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your day. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. If you don't do it already, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Consider checking out patreon.com/veryunofficial for extra videos that I don't post anywhere else, for behind the scenes, for extra planning information, things I usually keep secret. I usually tell the people over at patreon.com/veryunofficial, especially these people over here. Special thanks to you guys. You make it even more special, and as always, I'm very thankful for that. I will see you next week, and coming soon, the next video from the Norwegian Escape.